Hey people, it is Wednesday, May the 5th, and it is 2:28 in the afternoon. And I'm here on Lake Shore Blvd West in southern Etobicoke. And I'll be walking through the Mimico neighborhood, which I'm just coming into. And then beyond that, I will walk through the Humber Bay Shores neighborhood, which you can see in the distance with all those towering condo towers. Now, Mimico is an old former town that was built up in the early part of the 20th century and was an independent town until it became part of the borough of Etobicoke, which is now part of the city of Toronto. But Mimico retains its own small town character here along Lake Shore Blvd, as does New Toronto and Long Branch, which are located further west along Lake Shore Blvd. The three of them make up the Lake Shore towns. So it is 10 degrees and a bit windy, and it was raining a little bit. Seems to have stopped now, thankfully. So people still refer to these communities by their old names. People just say, I live in New Toronto, I live in Mimico, I live in Long Branch. And if that's not specific enough or general enough, they'll say I live in Etobicoke.
How are you? I'm good, and you? Good. Have a good day.
This is the first time I've ever done a video or even walked through this area ever. I mentioned in the video I shot right before this, walking through New Toronto, that this is just a part of the city that I never seem to get to, and it's not the most convenient part of the city to get to unless you want to sit on the Queen Street streetcar for a very long time. The 501 Queen runs all the way to Long Branch, which is the end of the line. So instead of taking the 501, which actually is not running streetcars right now, as you can see there's work being done, so they're running buses along the line instead. So instead I took the subway to Kipling Station and then took the number 44 bus south along Kipling to Lake Shore Blvd. I think that was probably the best, fastest way to get here. Took around 45 minutes starting from Dundas Station. So much of Lake Shore Blvd here in southern Etobicoke is lined with commercial storefronts. With some stretches of residential separating them. But each of the respective lakeshore towns has its own little main street. And I think this is the last such area of the city that I had yet to come to, with street fronting retail, old pre-war buildings. And there's lots of these old low-rise apartment buildings in the neighborhood. I think I'm walking on the wrong side of the street. All the interesting stuff seems to be across. And we could probably get a better view of the Humber Bay shores from the other side of the street too. So maybe I'll just cross. FBI pizza. Humber Bay is just over here, across which you can see an awesome, fantastic skyline view. So all these people who live in these buildings are pretty lucky if they're facing in that direction. Most of the houses in this part of the city are small detached houses dating back to the early part of the 20th century, 1920s or so. See Mimico by the lake. This part of the city also has a kind of an old school flavor to it. Kind of like, it's still sort of Toronto as it was like in the 1970s or 80s. That is, of course, until you get up here to Humber Bay Shores, where it suddenly looks like modern day Toronto. Glass condos galore. And there's the 501. It's too bad the streetcars aren't running. It adds a little bit of visual flavor to this part of Lakeshore here. See the streetcars go rumbling by. Or I guess they don't rumble so much anymore. They kind of glide now. We're coming out of the kind of old Main Street section here of Mimico. I've never explored this Humber Bay Shores neighborhood either, so this will be interesting for me just to walk through here for the first time ever. There's a Rabba. It's like a small quasi supermarket. It's bigger than a convenience store, but smaller than a regular supermarket. They have locations all over the city. And the prices are a little bit high for my liking. But it's good if you're desperate, because they're open 24 hours. 365 days a year. So sometimes they will do if there's no place else. This neighborhood has faced a lot of criticism for being a bit of a retail and services desert, but I think that's slowly changing. I think more and more retail is opening up in the neighborhood to serve the thousands of condo residents. And that is one of the tallest buildings outside of downtown. I think that's 70 stories. Something like 223 meters, give or take a meter. As you can see here, there's a number of retailers here at the base of this building, of these buildings. Of course, most of these are not what I would consider to be very interesting, though. There's that pedestrian bridge. I think that's the Mimico Creek. I was trying to remember. I was thinking, is it the Etobicoke Creek? And then I saw this sign here that says Mimico Creek, so I'm going to go with that. I'm not super familiar with this neighborhood, obviously. And I didn't really do any research beforehand. I don't usually do that for my videos. I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants. Ooh, it got pretty windy here all of a sudden. So I'm going to cross back. Maybe I should push the button. Oh, no, don't have to. I can't walk through here without going over that neat little pedestrian bridge over here. And maybe catching a skyline view. I'll take in as much of this as I can, because who knows when I'll come back to this part of the city again. Probably won't be until I want to shoot another video sometime in the future. Yeah, that was the Mimico Creek. Maybe I should walk over that. That thing looks cool. I think I will. Walking into a swarm of bugs here. And I think I just might have caught that dog doing his business there. That's always a lovely sight. The water is not very deep here. It's too bad the weather has to be so sort of overcast. I think those are loons. And there's a duck. That's a new tower just wrapping up construction. I think something like 20 more towers are planned to be added to this area. And now we're walking straight towards the skyline. Starting to rain a little bit again. Looks like we can't walk up to there. Thought maybe I could get a more unobstructed view of the skyline, but I did get an awesome view of the skyline in my previous video. That was my new Toronto video. And at the very end I came across a beautiful unobstructed view of the skyline, looking across Humber Bay. The butterfly garden. Wildflower meadow. Huh, very nice. I didn't see any butterflies, but I guess it's not butterfly season yet. And here's a pretty good view. Alright, so I think I'll wrap it up here. hope you enjoyed the walk through Mimico and Humber Bay shores, and through some nice natural areas and trails. And here on the shores of Humber Bay, looking at downtown Toronto skyline. Be sure you comment below if you enjoyed this, and like and share, and tell your friends, and of course subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there's a link in the description where you can do so via PayPal, and you can find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue. Take it all in.